You guys remember a couple of years ago when they proposed the European Super League and everyone was up in arms about it? Fans protested, clubs slowly dropped out of it, pundits had their say, Rory and Thogdad saved Chelsea, and the plans pretty much collapsed within a span of a couple of days. Well, UEFA pretty much decided to keep the idea for themselves and just change the structure of the Champions League moving forward. So if you're an enjoyer of the beautiful game and you don't know already, the way the Champions League is going to be played from here on out is going to be very, very different to what we've seen since the inception of the tournament. The group stage format that we've been watching since the conception of the Champions League is not going to be around anymore, since it's been deemed too boring for whatever reason. Keep in mind, no one really asked for these changes. Year after year, fans seem to enjoy the drama and everything that happens in the group stages of the Champions League. For whatever reason, partially Arsene Wenger, the Champions League that we have grown up on is no more. Oh, and they've also decided to enforce this new structure on the Europa League and the Conference League as well. The only thing they did decide to keep the same for these competitions is qualifications and the knockout. So teams still have to be in the upper echelon of the respective domestic leagues to qualify for the competition, or at least for the pre-competition qualifier, like where Chelsea find themselves in at the moment. Once teams have fully qualified for the competition, they're then placed into one of 4 pots, which pretty much align with their ranking in world football. Essentially, you have the best teams, the better teams, the good teams, and then the thank you for your participation teams in the 4th pot. Conference League is going to be the only one that's different since it has 6 pots instead of 4, but you can imagine it's spread out pretty similar. And like I said, the knockouts are mostly the same, although there is one extra step which I'll get into just a little bit. With that being said, what did they change? I said that they got rid of the group stages, so what did they put in to replace it? Well, goodbye European Super League, hello Champions League Super League. That's pretty much what we got. There's now going to be 36 teams in the competition instead of 32 like there has been in the past. So they pretty much added 4 more teams to just kind of give them participation medals, if we're being honest. Gone are the group stage games, and instead now we have the league table format where teams are going to play a total of 8 matches, all of which being against different teams. Each club is going to have to play 2 different teams from each pot, 4 games at home and 4 games away. At the end of the league format, top 8 teams go straight into the round of 16, 9th through 24th get put into a knockout playoff game, so essentially the round of 32, and the rest of the teams get sent packing back home. And if you ask me, this is literally just the MLS. You've had Europeans making fun of MLS for God knows how long at this point, and now their most pristine competition has essentially turned into a diet version of MLS. The only difference is that MLS has 2 conferences and the Champions League is now just going to be one big ass league. I don't think this is going to be the death of the Champions League, because we're always going to want to watch these teams play no matter what. Your favorite club is probably in the Champions League, so you're going to watch them play regardless of the structure of the competition and if it feels Americanized or not. Or at least I just hope it's not the death of the Champions League. I really do hope it's not, because we all love it, but it could be in the long run, because it's potentially going to create some problems moving forward that could be very bad for football. Same issues that are being brought to the table when the Super League was being proposed. First of all, the league format is lame. It's so freaking lame. The reason they're doing this is because they want more top teams to play each other. Going back to the idea that the Champions League has been called boring, mostly due in large part, in my opinion, to the fact that over these last 5 to 10 years, we've seen a lot of underdogs make some decent runs in the Champions League. You can call that boring, but ultimately, if the bigger teams aren't showing up, that's not the underdog team's fault. They're doing the best that they can and they're winning. So for me, the idea of more top teams playing each other because underdogs going on good runs is boring is just horrible. They just want to sell more tickets by promoting these more box office games without keeping in mind how the structure is a lot more beneficial to the top European clubs. This is also just going to create more fixture congestion for teams and players who seem to already be playing such a high amount of games. You had Rafa Varane pretty much calling out football for having these guys play so many games that they really shouldn't have to be playing consecutive. For me, additionally, this pretty much just puts an end to all the drama that we've seen play out in the Champions League group stage games over the course of history of this competition. For all you hate watchers out there, think about how United failed to qualify out of the group stage towards the end of this phase of the competition. The countless group of deaths that pitted the best of the best against each other and saw only the real elite teams come out, all the brilliant underdog runs in the competition, all of this pretty much put to an end because of this weird ass league format. And then second of all, when it comes to the changes they've made, this is more or less going to be creating an extremely top heavy league where the rich and powerful are only going to continue to grow in those aspects. Realistically, the top 10 or so positions in this new Champions League format is going to be filled by the same names that we typically see in the conversations for best teams in the world, which are probably going to be the teams that find themselves in the first pot. And then let me ask you also, what is the benefit to coming first? You could finish second, you could finish third, and you're still going to be thrown straight into the round of 16. There is no reason for coming first. At least with the group stage format, if you push yourself to finish first, you're more than likely going to get an easier draw in the round round of 16. So there's that. But with this, there's no reason for any team between 1st and 8th to really battle it out for that top spot, other than bragging rights, which doesn't really mean anything if you're not winning the competition. But regardless, those first 8 spots are then going to be followed by the teams who are a step below in the second pot, and so on and so on. The fact that this is going to happen in the long run should be very interesting. It was already very difficult for mid-tier clubs to keep a hold of their promising players, and now it's going to be near impossible. You know how in the Premier League, if a player does well for a bottom half team, they just kind of move upward, and then the team that they left starts to struggle. Kind of like how Solanke was killing it for Bournemouth and then he just moved to Spurs. Well, the same thing could potentially start happening in the Champions League over time, as the rich and powerful clubs consistently finish not only at the top of their domestic league, but also towards the top of these UCL league formats, are going to become even more of an attractive destination. So while on paper, this does feel like creates more parity in the Champions League, it's really just an illusion. We're going to see the same 10 to 15 teams dominate the mid to top of the table, and then the rest of the competition is going to be made up of teams that are just cycling in and out of the competition, trying their best to make an impact in a league where they really just don't stand a chance. Additionally, this league format just pretty much promotes mediocrity. So before, if you lose pretty much 3 of your games, you're done, right? You're almost guaranteed to you're out of the competition, or you're dropping down into Europa League. With this league format, you're promoting being mid. This league format essentially eliminates any pressure for these games. If all you have to do is finish 9th through 24th to at least have a chance to keep going in the knockout stages, why try at all, right? You could probably get away with 4 wins and then drawing the rest of your games. You could probably get away with 3 draws, 3 wins, and 2 losses. You're gonna have these teams that are probably even more so parking the bus now, because a draw is probably going to be even better for them going forward. It's just poor. You're promoting being mid. You're making it easier for these top teams to just keep generating more and more and more money by finishing at that top half of the table. You're making it harder for these bottom teams to try and even keep hold of their players, and for them to make deep runs into this competition, where in the past it's been set up a little bit more easily for them to do so. Add to that the fact that they changed the freaking Champions League theme song, which, I mean, it sounds pretty similar, but still. And they're also saying that AI is going to be doing the draw, but I mean, it's probably just going to be some coded system. It's being called AI, but it's probably not really AI, so I'm not really looking too much into that. There's just these unnecessary changes that are going on in the Champions League, which I'm not really a fan of, but you guys can let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you got it to this point in the video, leave a like, subscribe. Like I just said, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you boys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Peace.